Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of my Disney Infinity Thor clip where we get the boss fights to be on your side. Now you'll see here, before we go any further, I just wanted to show you that if you look here, when you create your levels you can add text. Now here's the one I'm working on called Ticking Time Bomb. Ultron has opened up a space gate, it's pulling gamma rays. You can actually set the story, so although the text creator tools have stopped working, you can still write your story as like an opening chapter. So here again, the Tower Inferno one that I'm working on, there's been an explosion at the Baxter building, fire has broken out on the first floor, trapping the residents. And so you can still set the theme, yeah? So what you'll find is that when you're going to create your adventures, those stories are going to become shorter, and your opening level, the explanation is your chapter. So essentially we're going to make our levels into more like comic book levels. So here you go, my prison ship one says you've managed to board a first order prison ship, and you can set the scene. So just because we can't have that throughout the game, I don't think it's too big a problem. My John Wick is great. Here you go. Fargo's son stole a man's car and killed his dog. It's not what he did that angered him, it's who he did it to. That person was John Wick. If you ever get to see John Wick, great film. A bit violent, but still brilliant. But again, just getting sidetracked here, is when you create your levels, allow you to put the extra text in to explain what happens in that level. So when you load it up, you can still tell your story. So okay, it's a bit disappointing the text tool has ended, and if you haven't got the text template that I created, shame on you, but some of you recently bought it. This is a good way of getting around that and still writing your story. I wanted to point that out before I carried on with my my adventure. Right, so now we've done that, let's go straight back into it. The first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on the two landscapes. Now I was going to look at different size screens. It's got to be the full square, so don't go for these little diddy ones that I was going to do. It's got to be the full flat square, and you're going to line it up to either side, and it's obviously laid out to the side of the door. So I'm just going to move this back to the side. So here you go, bang in the middle. Now the reason why you need two, one is for you to enter, and the other one is for the Hulk to enter. So we're straight into this point here now. We are getting to the Hulk to join in, and we're going to get our Hulk to appear on the screen. So we've now got that connected. Now what we're going to do is, and as I say, one of the YouTube guys pointed this out, and it's the only way of doing it. I'm going to push the Hulk through this doorway. So what you'll see here now is I'm using these basic bricks to come up the door. Now you can't fit it exactly to it, but you can't see it. I'm just going to leave it at the side. What I'm going to do is these levels are going to create like a funnel. Yeah, so I'm just going to change the pattern of this. I think I used dungeon because it was a good brick side, but I'm basically going to create a funnel, and then I'm going to have a wall push like I did with the trash compactor level, and push the enemy through the box. Otherwise it'll stay there forever, so it'll push him outside. But just in front of that doorway we're going to use a team token, and as he pushes himself through, yeah, he will walk over the team plate, which will then make him on my side. And as I said, there's the only way of doing it. It's quite a genius method. So I think it was Joker Poker, which, if that's your YouTube name, was quite clever, I thought, doing it. So I had to show it, and with the Thor trailer being out as well, I thought it was a great example to show this. So you see here, I'm using 5 bricks at an angle, right? And you do need it to be 5, by the way. You don't want it to wander off anywhere. So that gives that side. And then I'm just going to create a little box so he can't wander anywhere else. So when he appears, he's going to be in that box. And again, I think you use 4 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and the same on the other side, 4 on the other side. So set these all up. Okay. So then there's our funnel, and our boss is going to appear in the middle of there. As going on the screen. So if I go back to my creativity toys, okay, go to my boss spawn, or boss, whatever it's called, where is it, what's it called, it's called boss fighter spawn. Now look, I have no idea why it had to be so big, but okay, and if you find this will fit perfectly in the 5 levels. So if you slide it up, I'm going to just slide it up to the first past the first square, so you just see, it's just indented in. Oh, look at that, fits lovely inside that box. So I've done all the measurement for you there, and you click once. Now one thing I've also noticed, and this is another thing I found after the server's been switched off, when I select that, there's a delay. My system seemed locked. I don't know, if I put the spawn fighter on, there's a delay. I don't know why I had to check on the internet, but it just seemed to lock down, and go, what happened? Then suddenly I jumped out to here. This is no editing, by the way. It just did that for me. So I left that in to show you that, which is really weird. Okay, so let's go back to my creativity toy. So my spawn guy is now there on the screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I need my path tool. Oh, before that though, I need this one, my blue team thing. And I only need one of these. Now, the other guy, what he used several of these, but I only need one because I've forced the doorway. Yeah, and I want to make sure he walks it. So I'm just going to place that in front of the doorway. Now I'm not going to place it the other side because I don't want the other enemies to walk into it. So anyone walks over this, they will change into the blue team. So I wanted to make sure that the Hulk turned into the blue team, but no one else did. So this is why I did the stadium style with the doors opening. So then what I wanted to do then is I'm using the path tool, and I'm going to have the wall move. So as the Hulk appears, and you'll see I've lined it up lovely in the box, as the Hulk appears, he is then pushed forward through that door. Okay, so I'm going to click a level, nice and straight. And again, this is where I had that little back, it didn't work straight away. So again, a couple of squares, hit boxes, move across. And just before the end, I'm just going to put a box there. And now I'm just going to stop it past the door. Look, there you go, there, look at that. Why does it jump there? I don't know. I have no idea why that's the case. So just to prove point, I'm going to undo it, start again, move a couple of squares through. Now I'm going to put a couple of squares in, extra dots throughout. Now by some reason doing this, stop that from happening. Right, so do another square, go across now, past the doorway. Look, that works perfectly now. Strange, but that's how I get around it anyway. Now the reason why I've got it past the door is the wall is going to stop there, so no enemy can then walk back and get through the door. So it's going to be like the sliding doors I did in part 1. So it's good that I did do that, because that's more a simpler version. This is a larger scale. Yeah. So what I did with the sliding doors for the ground, I'm going to do the exact same thing here. Yeah. So it's going to slide across, pull it through, stop there, and the doorway is going to be sealed, so they can't get through into that box. Okay, when the point reaches on that path. Now remember, before I do that, I need some logic gates. Okay, so I need to come out of that first. I need to create a couple of logic gates first. And if you like, say from the first clip, which is our smaller version, so it was handy for me to do it, I need to create 2 logic gates here on the screen. Alright, so let's go to it. Dun, dun, dun. Where is it? There you go. So that my logic gate there is to turn the thing off, and then I need another logic gate to turn the whole thing back on. So, and I sometimes try to do it through the actual path. You can do it on the path itself, and I find it difficult. Logic gates tend to be less bug free. So some of you said, why don't you just do it from that point, switch its own path off? I did that occasionally. It doesn't sometimes always work. So I can click that into there. So I click in there. Can I input a signal from that point? Yeah. Same thing on here. Can I do the same again? New logic connection. When point reached on path, so scroll further down on this one. It is hidden there. So when point reached on path. Cool. Can we then insert that onto the path? So that will now input there. That will switch the path off. Okay. Now at the end of this clip, I'm going to show you the fight again, so you can see the whole link. So you've jumped straight to stage 2. All we did on the other one is create the arena, so you could bypass all the opening floors. But the first clip I've shown you is showing you how to get the enemies to spawn through the floor of the stadium. So and all this is going to show you is how you make the boss guy on your side. So this logic gate here, all this logic gate is switch the thing on and off. So I was yawning there, trying to hold on a yawn. Right, here we go. So we just switch that on. Yeah, so that will then send those items down the path, which is quite good. And we need some path tools. And we need some bricks. Now, this side here, I can't do it on the screen, so I'm just going to put the side here. And if you notice, because you look at it, it's perfectly matched to fit 4 of these across. Now, I could seal this all up into a room as well, but you never get through to this side, so guess what? I just left it like that. It looks like on the screen. The user will never see it because we're inside the stadium. Right, but they're going to slide up and down and back and forth and push the enemy across on the screen, so there's a big, long, giant line. and when you hit the funnel it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to each one of these boxes, so new path connection, and I'm going to connect it to the path. And as you'll see, it slides through the list, so that's how it goes through the screen. So I'm just going to want to do is just jump on that box. Now I should have turned the path tool off to start with, so I didn't have to worry about it, but let's just put it on there. So let's go to the properties of that object. Excuse me. Now in this case here, we go to properties. I've got logic set up. So on the toy box path, what do we want to do? Okay, the first thing is we wanted to do the horizontal, and I'm going to move it to one side to 18, so it fits. If you can see it go across, you just see at the bottom corner match across. It's 18 you want it to go to. There it is, fits flush. And the other key thing I need to do, I need to change it to the loop to go back and forth. If you don't do the loop, when it gets to the end, they'll all jump back to the beginning, and then the other enemies can walk over the blue box and join your side. Okay, so that now goes to the issue I've got there is it gets to the end, and nothing happens. I can't see the box now because it's gone on the screen. That's because I was a muppet and forgot to switch off the path when I was doing it. So I'm going to have to put a button back in to bring it back. Sorry about that. Right. So let's bring back my creativity buttons. Okay, here's my button part. Right. So what I'm going to do with this, I was going to have a button. I was going to use two here, and I didn't need it in the end. All this button does here is when I press this button here, it switches the item back on. The other button I was going to use was just a reset. I couldn't be bothered after that. But again, these buttons I delete off afterwards. So let's press the first button, and then the path will then come back. And you'll see nothing happening because then all of a sudden the square, there's the square, it comes back on the screen. Now you will notice when I attach these objects to the path, I'm doing the edges first. Because they obviously, when they come to the middle, you can't see them on the screen. So I'm just going to link it to this path. So link this box to the tool. And now I'm going to move this one. So I'm going to go to the properties of that. And now I've got the path finished. Now it's easy to do. So let's go through to my horizontal. Let's move it the other side this time. Did I move the other side? Which side did I move this? Let's see. Yep, I moved this to the other side. So it's 18 to this side, which is good. And you must change the loop to be back and forth. That's that one done. Okay, so we've done that. So we now pick on the next box. So let's go back into my Creativity Spark mode. It's a lot easier now. I've got used to this now. So now I'm going to connect this one to this object. Again, appears bang in the center. So the reason why they get in the way, so I'm now going to click onto the properties of that one. Making sure I don't re-click on the path tool. So on the properties, on the tool, go down now, horizontal, go back the other way now. So I think is it 6? Yeah, it's 6. So that fits perfectly. Change the loop of that and make that go back and forth. And then do the last one. So grab that one. Click on the last one there. And as you'll see, they've overlapped, so it's sometimes hard to see it. That's why I did the edges first, so you can see which one am I selecting. And now move this to the other side, so horizontal, move that across. There's my wall, excellent, and change settings back and forth. There we go. Right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete these buttons because they're no longer needed. Yeah, they're no longer there, we'll do it, they're the buttons, so they can go. So the last thing we need to do is just change the properties of it. So we go to the properties of the enemy thing, and the only thing we can choose is what the boss setting is. So I'm going to go into there and I'm going to choose the Hulk. So you must do that because when we switch that on, that is when the Hulk appears on the screen. So that now is our boss enemy set up. So we've got the boss enemy set to the Hulk. We've got these logic gates here that will open and close and move our sliding panel. We've got our team gate in front of the gate. So all I do now is how do I trigger this to happen? Yeah, how do I set this whole thing in motion? So one thing I am going to need is logic gate. So I'm going to, just like I did with the floorboards where the creature's coming up, I need something to instigate all this thing to start and work. So I'm just going to get myself another logic gate. I don't know why I paused on friendly enemy there, but let's get another logic gate. This logic gate here is when I input a signal into here, I want everything to start. Okay, so we're going to do a new logic connection. On output, can we turn on that boss? So the only thing we can do is just switch it on, that's it. Turn it on, and hey presto, the Hulk will now appear when we switch that on, and it'll appear hopefully in the middle of that box. Okay, and if that is the case, the Hulk's appeared, the one thing we want to do then is new logic connection on that trigger. On output, can we switch this path on? And we've done that by our other logic gate, so I'm going to go to the other logic gate there and say, right, can we now switch you on and input a signal into that gate? That will now get the bars to move, and we'll push the Hulk through our team gate and block up when it's finished. So I'm just now going to move these close to the gate so I can see them side by side. Again, I like to be organised. I like to keep these in fashion, don't have them thrown out of place. Right, so we can see there's our little gate. So that there is our instigator. That's the thing that controls. If I put a signal in there, the boss is going to get pushed through that particular doorway. And that is how we convert a boss to be on our side. That was really quite simple actually, really, isn't it? But I wanted to set the theme, so it's taken all this time to prepare this, but you can see why we've done the theme and how we push him through. But you do need to get the boss to go over these, and you don't want anyone else does, otherwise everyone becomes on your side. Now I've jumped to the other side, I'm slightly going a bit seasick here, and what I'm going to do on this side here is, this is where we appear. Right? So one thing I mustn't forget to do is, you see the Disney Infinity icon? If I leave that there, that's no good. I need to bring that now up. Otherwise I will load up. That's when you load the game, that's where you're going to start. So I'm going to move that back in, and I'll put that in the centre of this square to say this is where, when you start, we will actually appear. Okay. I don't know why it jumped all the way back over to there again. So now I'm just going to repeat the same thing again on this side, and this is going to be my entrance side. So I need again my 5 squares. So let's go back to my bricks and let's put that side back in. Simple tools. Now on the mini drafts that I did, I made sure that there was a time limit, and then I was pushed through the stadium. I didn't have a choice. Yeah. So what I was doing here is that I put these bricks in, and even I get pushed through. And then afterwards, I thought, well, obviously I'm not just going to wait there. There's no need. So I didn't have to do the logic for it. I thought, what's the point? I'm just making it more complicated for myself. So when I set this all up first, and you'll see here as I'm making it, this one I am going to fill in, because obviously you're in this point, so I don't want us to go fly over or anything like that. But what I found here was that I didn't need the bar to push me through, it will just do it. So that was the reason why I got out of that option there. So let's just fill this in. So this is 5 squares. And so it doesn't take too long. And I mean, the clips to do this all lot took roughly about 1.5 hours. So if you were to recreate this whole level, I think it'll take probably, I think if you're doing it following the clips, the longest bit was doing the crowd bit, getting the crowd to cheer. So I think you could do it once you got the thing going. I think about 1.5 hours, and you got the whole level created. It's quite a good one. They don't have to be that good. As I say, these toy box, these clips take a while to produce, because obviously I've got to test it and pace out the clip that it's good enough to show everyone so you can follow it. I could just use a straight pile there, but I'll stick those in. I could have used the other pool by the side. I don't know why I did this one, but again, I'm just filling the bricks at the side. And also remember, in my level I'd set the texture to be dungeon. So just in case you've come straight to this clip, in the previous one I'd already set the style to dungeon for the square bricks, but you could have changed it afterwards if you wanted to. And like I keep preaching, I love the idea that you can build your own games, and the fact this is the only tool I've seen that you can create good games as well. I haven't got my head around what's the game? Big Little Planet. It's brilliant, but I haven't got the logic to this one. But because I can cater diverse games, it's really good. But there you go. That's where we're going to start from. Okay, so that's where we're going to fill the screen. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a couple other things. So let's go back to my creativity toys. Because one thing we need to do is we need to say, right, I need to make myself part of the blue team as well. If we're not part of the blue team, the Hulk's still going to attack us. Yeah, so that's vital that we do it. So great, I've got the Hulk being part of the blue team, but I need that as well. So what I want is, I don't want a logic gate, I want, not the repeater, I want the game starter somewhere on here. There you go, level starter, not game starter, level starter. You thought all this time would have known what this is called. Now I can bung this anywhere outside here because the user will never see it. Okay, never going to see that on here. And then the other thing I'm going to do here is I need my team icons. And I'm going to make that blue. Okay, so on level start, so we can do new logic connection on catalyze. What we're going to do is, so on start, we're going to say, right, can we change all players to the blue team? Which is quite good. Now, if that is the case, the enemy needs to be a different team. And we've done our enemies in the box. It's like, uh-oh, we've got to do that on stage 1. So what I need to do now is I need to go all the way into our tower. So we're both blue teams, yeah, so he'll be pushed through, he's a blue team, but my enemies aren't. So I'm going to have to go down into my little tower box. As you'll see, so you can find this way it gets quite messy, and get my cursor on that tool. Should have done that in part 1 actually. Set that to the orange team. So there you go, got my tool on it, great. Can't see it at the moment, but that is the enemy generator. So if I go to the properties of that, properties of the enemy generator, can we change it to the orange team? So team, I'm going to change it to the orange team. Don't change it to blue, we're not going to be one big happy family otherwise. So that now is the orange team. So I'm going to go into the next box. Whoops, I'm already on the wrong side. I didn't realise I got through to the other side. So that one I think I've just done, haven't I? Yep, I've done that one. See, I've got lost in my own map. Right, so let's come out of there. So let's go across to the other side, keep it level. So that one, there it is. I'm going to change that one to the properties, and I change that to. So these towers, like I said, I did that in part 1. So these are the orange team, and these panels are going to slide back, and the enemies are going to come up through the floorboards, a bit like in the Gladiator film, which is another classic. Oh, that was one thing I was a bit disappointed with the text creator when it was working. You couldn't. I wanted to use the word hell, but they couldn't let you put hell in it. You can do death and kill anyone you like, but you couldn't use the word hell because I wanted to use the command on my command, unleash hell. I couldn't do that, so they wouldn't let me use it. It was a bit of a shame, but well. Okay, done. So we've got the enemies now in the opposite team, which is good. So that's that bit set up. Right. So now we've got us starting the level. Now we've got the teams all in the right colour. What happens if you do die? Now we can do it, restart it, and I haven't put the logic on it, but when we die we're going to come back into the prison room in here. We're going to start through, and now we could set it up that once we come back through, it forces us back through and resets everything. So what I'm going to just do is I'm just going to put a path checkpoint here to say when I die I want to come back here on the screen. If you don't use this part, when you die you will appear in the middle of the arena and you'll just carry on going. But the only problem there is I've set this up to be an endless game, so the object was really see how long can you last. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this default up for all players. So this is going to go for all. I'm going to have it hidden so you can't see it, so I don't want it to be seen on the screen. And it's for all players. Okay. And just in case we don't walk over it and you go from side point, what I'm going to do here is new logic connection. On start, can we set checkpoint? So set checkpoint on and do it for all. Okay. So we're going to appear here and we're going to start. So my next thing is what happens. When we start, we're going to go through the crowd. So I'm going to need an area. Now we could have used a dynamic area, but this is just directly one button. I'm going to force you through that doorway. You don't do anything, you'll be just trapped bored in this room. So I'm going to force you through that particular area. Okay, and when you go through that door, I want the crowd to then start cheering. Okay, so the crowd are all happy. They're one of their gladiators turns. So on enter by a player, and I'm going to say any player. I want to start the crowd off. Now, as I showed you in part 1, we've nicely organised our logic, so we know that there will set all our repeaters and set our crowd going. And that's all been set up. So we're in there. I'm going to do input, and can we now set the crowd? And that will get the crowd all cheering on the screen, going yay! Right. So we come through here, and excellent. We come through on the screen. Okay. So as I come into the stadium, what triggers the other enemy to appear? So what I'm going to do here is, as I walk out, and if you remember in the Thor trailer, Thor walks out, and then there's the big introduction, and now meet the Incredible Hulk. So I'm going to put this trigger here so the crowd can see the enemy. So I'm going to span this out. So this trigger area is actually going to start Thor coming. Now the problem you've got here is the trigger area is in the arena. So what happens if you run into again? You don't want you don't want the Hulk to keep coming out the screen. Sorry. So what I want to say is, when you go into this area, I'm going to trigger the Hulk to come through. So I must make sure that although I activate it from here, I have to switch it off. So we'll walk through. We'll go into here, and we're going to trigger off the whole process for the Hulk. But if I run back into that area, I don't want to keep triggering it again and again. So what we're going to do is we're going to have another logic gate. And this logic gate is going to be switched on off, so I only allow it to happen once. So when I run back in there again, it's not going to happen. So if I put another logic gate in here, where is it? There's the logic gate. And if I set that here at the side, right, so that's my logic gate. That will say, right, okay, can you fire this through? Yeah, so let's go all the way back. So when I enter this area here, so new logic connection, on enter, by player, by any player, yeah, can we input a signal into that logic gate? And can we input that in? Now once you've done that, that says, right, in logic, I can now control it. So what I can do now is, from the output of that logic gate, so new logic gate on output, can we input our signal to what starts the whole process? So we're going to fire that gate, which says, right, spawn the Hulk and now start the walls moving. But what I'm then going to do is, once I've done that, is I can say, right, new logic connection from that gate on output, can we switch this gate off? Can we close the gate? Therefore, if I walk back into the area, it won't redo this whole process again. The only thing is, if I want a reset button, I need to reopen this gate, so be wary of that. So that will now set the Hulk walking through, and it will come through on this particular area, which is quite cool. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put another trigger area when the Hulk walks through the crowd and we're not attacking. I want them to stop and start booing. They're not happy with this result. So I'm just going to put another trigger area, and I messed this up, by the way. So there's a little bit of clever editing here to get around it. But basically, I put a trigger area where I want the Hulk to walk through. So I'm going to put this here and spread that across the screen. Now the Hulk doesn't fly, so it doesn't have to be high. So just spread that across. Okay, and there you go. There's my path tool going across here, because I messed it all up. But that there is when the Hulk starts walking through. Yeah, so he's going to come through there, and then when he comes through there, we're going to have the crowd are not going to be happy, going, what the hell just happened? Yeah, so as he walks through here, we need a certain number of events to occur, and we need to touch time out. So we push it through. So logic's come through. He gets pushed through. He gets put through the team. Makes it onto my side. He walked through, and once he's on my side, he'll walk straight up to me. That's the plan. So once he gets through here, the crowd all expecting something to happen, and then nothing. And that's where in the trailer he says he's a friend from work, which is brilliant. So I need a few things here. So let's go back to my creativity toys. So let's get logic gate here. Where is it? Come on. Right, there's my logic gate. This is the thing that's going to control it. So that's going to be the first part. Yeah. That's going to trigger off the whole, the entertainer, the one played by Jeff Goldblum. He's going to say, well, this is not good enough. Yeah. So in this case here, we're going to do when AI, though, enters it. Not me, when the AI. And in this case, we're going to do any, because no other enemies have appeared at the moment. It's just going to be me and the Hulk having a face-off. So when me and the Hulk enter here, I want to input a signal into this section. Okay, so that now inputs into there. Now I've got that there. Is this going to set the chain of things where the whole crowd are not going to get happy and stuff like that? So I'm going to need another logic gate because I don't want to trigger that item off. So no logic gate here. And what I'm going to say here, right, so when we get input on output, so new logic connection on output, can we input into that particular field? Okay, so what we can then say is, right, can we, as soon as we have the first thing I want to do is, can you switch off that area? Because if the Hulk walks back in there, I'll do the whole switch again. So on output, can we close this gate? Right, so what we're saying is, as soon as the Hulk ends, the crowd aren't going to be happy. They're going to be stunned, like, why aren't they fighting? So what we're going to do here then is, we're going to do on output of this logic gate. And as I showed you in part 1, we had a whole section. The crowd are constantly cheering at the moment. I'm going to run this button, yeah? And an input into that signal. So I'm going to connect to that logic and input. And what that does is that switches off the crowd. The crowd all go quiet. They go, what the hell just happened? Yeah, so they're going to be dead quiet now. But I need the crowd quiet for a bit of time. I need the silence to set in, like what's happened, and to be stunned. So I'm going to use a time delayer. Okay, and that time delay is to give enough time for it to quiet down, because the crowd takes about 3 or 4 seconds to cheer off. So when you stop the option, the crowd could be cheering for 3 seconds. It takes a little item here. So on output this thing, can we start this time delay? And if we go to the properties of this one, right, we're going to change this, and we're going to change this to, I think I set this to about 10 seconds. Is that right? Yeah, 10 seconds for the first one. That should give the crowd to go dead silence. Yeah. So we've given them 10 seconds. Right. What do we want to do next? And the thing we want to do is we want to make them start booing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set them off. So I was on delay complete. Can we input a section into here, into this section? And like I said, I've done that in part 1. This will set these repeats going off, which will get the crowd totally booing now, and they're not happy at all. Yeah? So after the time delay, we're going to say, right, on that complete, go input a signal into the booing crowd, and the crowd are now all booing and not happy at all. So we want them booing for a little while before we do anything. So I need another time delay. Now again, this logic is just trying to emulate the trailer from the film. So theoretically you could ignore all this and just have it start off straight away. Now in case I want the crowd to boo for a little bit longer, so I'm going to set this property to about 15 seconds. Yeah. I can't do delay complete. I forgot to do there because I need to. So once that's finished there, I need the properties there 15 seconds on the screen. I've done it a little bit longer just to build up the atmosphere. So they're all booing. We're not happy. Now there are some text tools that you can use with preset phrases. So what I'm going to do now is going to bring 2 little other tools. So let's go back to the other tools we've got. So we've got our text dialog here. So I'm going to set 2 of these up. So the first one is the entertainer's not going to be happy. So like, we're not having this. What's going on? Right, we're going to have another text tool on here. And I've noticed this didn't work 100%. They appear and the speech appears. I wanted to appear in sequence. So if I was to redo this again, I'd probably have a time delay for after each one. So I'd have speech, time delay, speech, time delay. But if I did that, I'll never get this clip out to you. And I want to get the clip done to show it working. So right, when our delay is complete, can we now choose a phrase? And a certain phrase in there, you saw there went into a category, and the category I went to was angry. And in angry, there's a word saying enough. So I'm going to have enough. What's going on? Right. Right, and what we're going to say here, property to that, we're going to make it a banner. So I'm going to change the setting so it's a banner option, like I like it with all mine, and I increase that to 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So here the crowd will say, all right, I've had enough. What's going on? Yeah, so I've set that back to 3 seconds. But you got certain phrases on there. So on here, if you then after that text is displayed, yeah, I want the crowd to stop. So we've had enough. Stop them from cheering. What's going on? Switch them off. So the plan there was to have silence. So after they started booing, the crowd suddenly go quiet because I've said enough. And then I wanted to try and introduce the theme to say, right, after that is displayed, we're going to show you this option here. So we're going to have another option there, and I think under negative, and you have to look through all these, under negative there was an option, what do you think you're doing? Yeah. So you've got certain phrases you can use, and there are different ones you can do. So, what do you think you're doing? And if you look at those, there's quite a number of phrases in there you use. You can help your story. And if I mentioned at the beginning of this clip, if you set your theme, you could still get away with still telling the story. So we just have to be a little bit more creative. All right. So on there, put that to 3 seconds. Make that a banner. But when I play back, like you'll see that they fire all these 3 at the same time. So this bit actually was a bit of my failure in my clip. So really I should have done a time delay between each of those stages. So as it goes through, I should have done a time delay between those. After that was mentioned, after that was done, have a time delay between each one, and then they would have staggered the theme correctly. And the time delay would have just been a second longer than the actual message. So after that text is displayed, can we do the narrator? Now, if you did that on the other text tool, it would follow in sequence quite nicely, but this doesn't. This will, as soon as it displays it, instantly does the next one. But on the narrator there, you saw you got a set phrases, and one of those, prepare for battle. And when that is mentioned, right, if that is mentioned, what I'm going to do there is when we say that, that is going to get the crowd, that's going to get all these crowds going. Yeah? So we're going to have them cheering, going, yay! Well, we actually are going to see a battle after all. Yeah? And that'll set the crowd off. So once that happens, great. Can you have all the crowd stop, go silent, and now can you start cheering? Okay? That goes from that connection tool. Right. So what we're going to do now is we've got all this started, which is great, but I now want the enemies to appear on the screen, and I want the enemies to continually appear on the screen. So after he says prepare for battle, I want to set those floor towers from coming up. And you'll notice, by the way, I've changed those floor towers. I haven't shown that anywhere in my clip. When I was formatting the screens, I've changed those floor towers into grates. There's a style called grate. And you'll notice I've changed those now, so I forgot to show you that. But you'll see there they've actually gone in a great format. Right, so I'm now going to put a repeater in here. So I'm going to do a new logic connection. On started, can we start our repeater? Can you switch that on? And that repeater is going to trigger off those floor tiles. Now I could have used a randomizer to do different ones. And I think in this case I set it to 10 seconds. Is it 10 or I don't know what I did. I changed that in the game. I think I changed it to 20. Yeah, 10 seconds was too short. So I think in here we set this to 10 seconds. But I think you want it slightly longer. Yeah, in fact, 20 seconds. I don't think, yeah, no, 20 was correct. I think this is my second draft. So the first one I did in 10 was too short. 20 seconds is not too bad. Right, so that there, when that trigger goes off, that is now going to set all my towers off. So what I'm going to do here is on repeat of this tool. So new logic connection. On repeat, I'm going to go down in underground, right? And look at that, I've set my 4 little points up really well. These little towers here, I know that trigger there, this is all done from part 1, that will instigate that tower. So can we do input that box? Let's go back up, so we've done that one, next gate. So I have to do it on all 4. New logic connection, on repeat, and let's do the next one. Right, and we are almost here, guys, almost done. On repeat. Last one again. New logic connection. On repeat. And set this up. Now I'm going to go back and finish off my Tower Inferno one. I'm trying to get that done during the Easter holidays. And I don't have a problem with that level. The problem I have is the look of it. I'm not too good on cities at the moment. I'm still trying to work out how to get my city block to look quite good. That's one of the reasons why it's taken longer than I thought it would do. Right, let's input that signal. Now we've got that done, we're going to move all these boxes down and drop them in the case. Yep. So they're all connected up, which is brilliant. Now what I should have done was saved it, because in my various versions this whole thing crashed. So let's move those now down below to the bottom section. So I'm going to click on those, and I'm now going to move them down onto the screen. So I click X and drag those down. Now you wonder why I did that edited thing, because basically the system crashed. At that point, as I start to move them, it crashed. So I had to do them all again. So click on that. So on this particular level, it crashed on me 3 times. Oh, and another little tip, when we did those sliding doors, and I showed you it working, when I did it, the thing didn't stop in time, it didn't seem to work, but when I saved it, really loaded back up, the logic was all correct. So if you do any of the logic and you find it hasn't worked and you've done exactly my instructions, what I want to do is just save it, reload it back up, and that tends to sort out the issue. So if you followed everything step by step here correctly, it will work. But what you tend to do is sometimes it gets slightly confused. So the best thing is save what you've done, close it, and then go back in. I always save before testing. Now let's move all these down on the screen. So let's move these down. So I've set these all up. So I've got again an order. I can see how these work. So we have now finished. That has everything that we now need to do. So all I'm going to do now, we've got our stadium done, is I need to put a roof on our building, change the ground, and set the theme as well. So let's get our little tools across. Go back to our simple tools. Get some flat paneling done. Okay. Slide that over the top, and you can push that. You can see push it right against the side there, which is good. That's all linked up. And as you'll see, I'm just going to go across here. With 3, I think 3 is the side. It just slightly overlaps, but remember you're inside that, so you can't actually see it. So it doesn't matter if it's slightly messy. Put the roof on. So let's go and do that. And like I said, these things don't take that long to do. I think that in your head you think it's going to take longer. And theoretically I didn't even need to have it this deep. I just kept it mirrored the other side. Now you can't do the same with the boss one because the boss one's got a higher level. You'd have to do a lot bit higher block on the screen. And then I just couldn't be bothered because you don't actually ever see it on that side, so I thought, what's the point? There you go. So we are now done. So all I'm going to do now is change the landscape, set the theme right because the wrong ground here. So let's change the palette, and we're going to choose the Guardian of the Galaxy landscape. Where was it called? The Cling? Quite like that one. That gave the idea of the prison ship. I thought it was quite good, a big like an underground arena type scenario. And then obviously I want to change the clouds. So I'm going to go back to my creativity toys, and I'm going to get the cloud settings. There's it, my sky changer, put that in there. And then I can change the settings of this, and then I can delete this when I'm finished. So if I go into here, now the Guardian Galaxies is Disney 2. Anyone should have access to this, and it is, there you go, Galactic Prison. I think that's the quite appropriate set. So we are done. We are ready to go to give this a test. Now, obviously, save it before you give it a go. Hope you like what I've done. Yeah. Like I say, keep making sure you like my clips, because then we can get the people noticing that Disney Infinity is still popular. But let's give it another run through again, and let's see how this now finally works after we've done the floor and we've now got the boss fight to work. Right, so let's give this another. Now, just to remind yourself, this guy Eric's done a really cool site. He's keeping the community going. So any tips, any help, any questions, chuck it on there. People are going to be checking that site. It's only just been on there for it's been out for the last few weeks. So I'm going to go big push for this site. He's done a really good job in here. So go check that site up, sign yourself up, and let's get one still pushing Disney Infinity. So here, as we start work, the crowd start cheering. And because I've got them staggered in different things, like I showed you in the clip, it's trying to be slightly spread out and not a repetitive cheer. Okay, you get a couple of little loop bits here, but here comes the Hulk. The Hulk now is being pushed through, so you can't see it, but he's now being pushed through on that side. And as he gets pushed through, he has to go over that blue marker. And you just heard a little ping, that lets me know he's now on my side. So now we can walk up together. The Hulk's walked through, and the crowd have gone silent. Now we can do our superhero pose. Yeah. Yeah. Now the crowd's not happy now, so after they'll start booing. Yeah, haha. See, the prepare for battle happened straight away. Right, and you'll see the floorboards have moved to the side, they open and close, and now the enemy's appearing. So, the prepare to battle bit, it should have done a delay between those two. And the Hulk takes a little bit to get going. Come on, Hulk, get yourself doing. Like I said, when I first tried this out, I did all the building, and the Hulk just walked around and I thought, oh, you're kidding me, he doesn't actually do anything. But he does get in, he does get into fight mode in a minute. He's not angry enough. That's what it is. He needs to get in the right mood. Look. Come on, Hulk, get you doing it. He now gets angry. It takes a little while. There he goes. Good man. Here he's going. He's not happy, man. Come on. And like I say, the enemies that keep spawning through every 20 seconds are coming up again. The doors are sliding across. Good one on Hulk, well done. See, I still get that jumping cheer thing, so.
Do not despair. Your loss was foretold.
I have to say, by the time I finished this level, I quite like Thor. It wasn't one of my favourite characters, but I actually quite like him now. And you can then pick different characters and see what's the best team up, who works quite well. Thor. I tried it with Loki. Yeah, it didn't work too good. And they just keep on coming. Right, so well, I hope you like this. I'm going to get back on work on my Tower Inferno and get that one finished. Remember that you can, like I pointed at the beginning of this clip, you can put a little chapter in. So instead of doing long stories, you do small little chapter levels, and that allows you to still explain your story, so you can set each theme up. Sadly we can't change it, but the Eric guy from that website, there's definitely a rumour that someone's going to take over the servers, so you never know, they may come back on, you never know. I was hoping they'd have done it by now, but we'll keep an eye out, and hopefully Warner Brothers might create their own version. So I hope you enjoyed building this, hope you liked the clip, and I'll get back to work on my other stuff. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll just leave you now with the Thor getting his ass kicked. See how long you can last without the Hulk now. Cheers for watching, and I'll catch you later.